In this video, I'm going to show you how to multiply radicals. Now, when multiplying radicals with a coefficient, that is the number in front of the radical, you're first going to multiply the coefficients together. Next, unlike adding and subtracting radicals, you're actually going to multiply the radicands together as well. Now, you can only multiply the radicals if they have the same index. So if they don't have the same index, you actually can't multiply them together, and you would write the two radicals side by side. Now, after you multiply, simplify the radical if it's possible. All right, so let's take a look at several examples. So in this first one here, we have 4 root 2 times 2 root 14. So first, we're going to multiply the coefficients together. So 4 times 2 is equal to 8. Now, next, we're going to multiply the radicands together. So the radicand is 2 and 14. So we're going to multiply the 2 and the 14 together. So that's going to give us the square root of 28. Now, even before I multiply, I can see that 2 goes into 14. So that means we have a 2 in the 14, and I have a 2 from the beginning first radical. So therefore, I know that root 28 can be simplified. So because I know that it was 2 and 2, we know that root 28 is divisible by 4. So we have 4 times 7, which gives us 28. And we can simplify root 4, which is 2. So if you want to show the step, you can go 8 times 2 times root 7. So 8 times 2 is 16, and then root 7. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. The next one's a little bit different. We have 5 root 2 minus 4, and it's all squared. Now remember that when something is all squared, or when a binomial is all squared in particular, it doesn't mean that we're going to square only the first term and just square only the second term. Remember, the squared means that we actually have 2 binomials. So I'm going to write this out 2 times. So I have 5 root 2 minus 4, and then I have another 5 root 2, and then minus 4. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go 5 root 2 times 5 root 2, and that's going to give us 25, and that's root 4, and then 5 root 2 times negative 4 will give us negative 20 root 2. So we can think of this as 4 is a coefficient, and then the radical would be 1. Okay, then we're going to multiply the inside. So negative 4 times 5 root 2. That's going to give us another negative 20 root 2. And then lastly, we're going to go negative 4 times negative 4, and that will give us positive 16. All right, so we're going to do some simplifying, which we can usually do, especially when we're multiplying 2 radicals that are identical. So we have 5 root 2 times 5 root 2, which is 25 root 4, but then root 4 is actually 2. So we have 25 times 2, and that will give us 50. And then we're going to join the 2 middle terms together. And remember, when we're adding or subtracting, the radicand does not change. So we have negative 20 root 2 minus 20 root 2, and that's going to be negative 40 root 2. And then lastly, we have the plus 16. So we can join the 50 and the 16, and that will give us 66 minus 40 root 2. All right, let's take a look at another example. In this one here, we have every term having a radical. Okay, so this means that we need to be very careful what we're multiplying. So remember, only coefficients multiply with coefficients, and radicands multiply with radicands. So you have 2 root 3 times 4 root 3. So 2 times 4 is going to be 8. And then root 3 times root 3 is root 9. Now you can change it to 3 now if you like, but I like to keep it as a radical first. So we're showing you, or I'm showing you how to just multiply, but not changing any or simplifying any of the radicals. So now we're going to go 2 root 3 times negative 2 root 5. So that's going to be minus 4 root 15. And then we have 3 root 5 times 4 root 3. That's going to be positive 12 root 15. And then lastly, we have 3 root 5 times negative 2 root 5. So that's going to be minus 6. And then root 25. All right, so we can simplify the first term. Remember I told you that root 9 was 3, so we have 8 times 3, which is then going to be 24. And then we can join the two middle terms together because they both have a root 15 radicand. So negative 4 plus 12 is going to be 8, and then root 15. And then lastly, we can simplify the root 25, which is 5. So negative 6 times 5 is then going to be minus 30. All right, so 24 minus 30 is negative 6. And then we have the plus 8, and then root 15. All right, now the last one here I want to show you is what to do when we have cubics. So it's actually very similar to when it's square root. So because we can see that the indexes are all cubes, our cube roots, we can multiply them together. So the first one here, we have 5, and then the coefficient of the first term in the binomial is 1. So we're going to go 5 times 1 is 5. And then we have the cube root, because both of them are cube root. And 9x times 3x is then going to be 27x squared. And then we have 5 times negative 8, so that's negative 40. And then we have a cube root. And then 9x times 6 is going to be 54. X. All right, so now let's simplify. So right now we can't join the two together because they're not like radicals. We have a 27x squared in the first one and a 54x in the second radicand. Now what we can do, however, is we notice that we can cube root 27, and the cube root of 27 is actually 3. So I'm going to actually show this as a separate step so you can see. So we have 5 times 3, and then we have the cube root of x squared. And 54, now 54 actually also has a 27 that goes into 54. So we're going to rewrite this as 54 cube root 27. And that's times the cube root of 2x. So now we have 5 times 3, which is 15. Cube root of x squared. And then minus 40, and the cube root of 27 is also 3. So 40 times 3 is minus 120. And then cube root of 2x as well. And that's it.